It wasn't the 3 a.m. cow stampede that woke me up, or the wild mooing under the full moon, or even the fact that they were galloping in strange figure eights like bovine crop circles. It wasn't the flickering red laser grid flashing across our pasture like a landing strip for UFOs. Another exact moment I knew everything had gone catastrophically wrong was when Belinda Pritchard, rhinestone visor crooked on her head and garden shears in hand, emerged from the misty chaos and screamed, "I just needed 4 more feet for the limbo contest," before vanishing into smoke as federal drones descended from the sky. 3 hours earlier, it had been just another quiet Thursday. My sister Marley and I had wrapped up our morning chores on the family ranch, chasing our cow Matilda out of the feed shed for the 3rd time that week and patching up a raccoon-sized hole in the barn wall. The usual. Peaceful, if not slightly annoying. That is, until Marley stomped up to the porch with a snapped fence post in her hand and a scowl that meant someone was about to be verbally annihilated. "She cut the fence," Marley said, eyes blazing. "I'm not joking. A clean slice, like she's planning a livestock jailbreak." "Who?" I blinked. "Who else?" Marley growled. "Belinda. Freaking Pritchard. Now, you've got to understand something. Belinda is the kind of neighbor who once called the sheriff because our scarecrow didn't match her HOA's seasonal guidelines. Her backyard looked like a theme park, exploded glowing flamingos, plastic parrots, oversized tiki heads. She ran our cul-de-sac like her own fiefdom, self-declared queen of aesthetics. But cutting our fence? That was new. Marley and I stormed down to the property line, now a 5-foot-wide gap leading directly into Belinda's plastic Hawaiian nightmare. She had strung up Mahalo Madness banners between torches, and there were inflatable pineapples arranged like ceremonial totems. Standing in the middle of it all, hands on hips, was Belinda, surveying our pasture like she'd just claimed beachfront property. "Belinda," Marley snapped, grinding her teeth, "why is there a 5-foot hole in our fence?" "Oh, hey neighbors." Belinda beamed. "It was just in the way. I needed space for the dance floor." "The what?" "The Lua dance floor," she chirped. "You know, hula hooping, conga lines, limbo. What's the point of a party if there's no space to move? You've got all this grass and cows. Share the wealth." Marley turned the color of ripe tomatoes. I tried to play diplomat. "Belinda, that fence is there for a reason. You can't just cut through someone's property." She waved dismissively like we were toddlers complaining about bedtime. "It's temporary. I'll put it back tomorrow. I already texted my cousin Blake. He owns a saw." At that very moment, Matilda, our most curious cow, wandered through the gap, sniffed a platter of tropical fruit, and began eating Belinda's inflatable pool noodles. Belinda shrieked, but that shriek was cut off by a sudden low electronic hum. The air shimmered. A faint click echoed across the field. Then thin, horizontal red lasers appeared, slicing across the pasture in neat lines. "What the hell?" Marley whispered. Before I could answer, the hum grew louder. Then a voice from nowhere boomed, "Security breach detected. Perimeter compromised. Deploying response protocol." From the tree line, a swarm of small gray drones emerged, blinking blue lights scanning the field like hornets from a nest. One of them zoomed straight toward Marley and began scanning her face like it was compiling a grocery list. Belinda screamed again, dropped her piña colada, and stumbled backward. Couldn't breathe. We'd always joked that Grandpa's old ranch held secrets, but this was a Tom Clancy novel on acid. "Do something," Marley shouted over the hum. "I don't even know what this is," I yelled back. A spotlight blinded us. Black SUVs stormed down the dirt road, dust flying. They skidded to a stop, and a woman in a navy pantsuit stepped out like she'd been waiting for this moment all her life. She flashed a badge. "Agent Nadine Sloan, Federal Bureau of Investigation," she said with stone-cold calm. "Who breached the perimeter?" Without hesitation, we all pointed at Belinda. For once in her life, she was speechless, mouth open, then closed, then open again like she was buffering. "IIT was just a party," she stammered. "I didn't know your laser death fence was real." Sloan didn't flinch. "You have interfered with a federal surveillance perimeter tied to an active security operation. This area is now restricted." What now?" I croaked. Sloan narrowed her eyes. "Is this your property? It's been in our family 3 generations. And have you accessed the substructure beneath the barn?" "The what?" Sloan tapped a device on her wrist. "Team, Initiate ground-penetrating radar and full sweep. Marley looked at me, half laughing. Is this a joke? They don't know, Sloane muttered. Belinda raised her hand. Excuse me. So does this mean the luau is cancelled? Sloane turned her head slowly. Ma'am, you are under investigation for interference with federal operations. Belinda gasped like she'd just been told Target was discontinuing leggings. But it's my backyard. No, Sloane said flatly. It's not. Everything paused, the cows, the wind, even Belinda. Then the drones resumed their sweep. Later that night, with a mobile command tent set up on our gravel driveway and soldiers scanning our barn with sci-fi gadgets, Marley and I stood by a patch of hay covering something our grandfather had always said to leave alone. A hidden door. Thick steel. No handle. Just a fingerprint scanner, and one word on the screen. Evergreen. So Marley said softly, should we tell her Grandpa used to work for the government? I chuckled. I think Matilda already did. Belinda wasn't done. If she couldn't host her luau, she'd win them over with banana bread and overly friendly charm. She delivered foil-wrapped loaves to every agent and set out cucumber water with handwritten labels that read, Stay hydrated, Patriots. Sloane ignored her entirely. Back inside the ranch house, Marley and I stress-ate shredded cheese and watched VHS tapes labeled Property of Grandpa. Do not touch. One tape titled Cattle Rotation 1986 plus Big Red Protocol showed Grandpa pointing at pasture maps and rigging cows into strange harnesses. Did Grandpa build a cow-powered surveillance grid? Marley muttered. There was a knock. Wally, Belinda's ever-patient husband, stood outside in socks and sandals and a shirt that read, I paused my game for this. You need to see something, he said. Inside his Garagino car, just monitors, tangled wires, and a repurposed missile casing used as a lamp. Footage showed our ranch from 7 different angles. She thought they were bird cameras. Wally sighed. But I've been watching since I found the blueprints. What blueprints? I asked. The ones from when your grandpa registered the land with the National Agricultural Defense Registry. It wasn't a farm. It was a node. A node. For information. Encrypted signals. Radio relays? A defense protocol. We sat in stunned silence. Our cows had been part of a Cold War spy network. Back at Belinda's shed, things took a turn. A satellite dish hidden behind fake ivy was transmitting an encrypted signal. It wasn't coming from our ranch. It was bouncing through Romanian servers. The source? Belinda's Wi-Fi. I built that dish, Wally confessed. For Belinda's scented candle live streams. I used a blender. Sloane's team confiscated every smart device on the block. Alexa stopped responding. The HOA president fainted. Pastor Tom quoted Psalm 91 through a bullhorn. Belinda stood on a patio table wrapped in an American flag shouting, I am being silenced by Big Cow. Then Matilda, fitted with an FBI tracker, wandered back into Belinda's yard and began walking slow, deliberate, precise. Her collar beeped in sync with blinking lights on the satellite console. She knows, Marley whispered. The cow knows where the signal's coming from. Sloane's face went pale. That cow is either a trained asset or the smartest creature on this ranch. And then the flower bed rumbled. A voice echoed from beneath the petunias. Protocol Evergreen activated. Awaiting clearance. A metal panel was unearthed, matching the scanner under our barn. Inside Node 7 beneath the barn we found Cold War computers, monitors, a central hub still pulsing. The ranch wasn't just a spy station. It was the last functioning Evergreen installation. The data was incomplete. A purge countdown began, 15 minutes to erase everything. Marley and I raced through Grandpa's journal, found a hidden acrostic poem, and used the first letters of each line to form the password. The timer stopped. Relief. Then the screen revealed a list: names, locations, files. Surveillance targets. Civilians. At the bottom, blinking, Belinda Pritchard. Outside, she screamed at a drone. My peonies are growing over a CIA bunker and nobody told me? As if things weren't strange enough, the signal hadn't come from a rogue agent, it came from a 13-year-old kid named Theo 3 houses down. Homeschooled, tech-obsessed, he wrote a script to see what secrets cows were hiding. His AI accidentally reactivated a dormant surveillance system. And Matilda? She was the key. Her movement finished a protocol not completed since 1987. Step by step, guided by tape-recorded sound, She traced the original cowpath encryption pattern. And when she reached the feeding trough, the terminal pinged, "Protocol Evergreen terminated. Thank you for your service." The government offered to buy everything: land, servers, cow. We took the deal. Belinda tried to sue everyone, claimed Matilda caused her emotional damage. She now has a podcast called Truth and Tiki, where she claims she exposed the cow's piracy. Wally moved into a trailer for 2 months until Belinda agreed to dismantle the satellite. He and Matilda now have a strange but sincere friendship. Marley and I rebuilt the house. Every now and then, at dawn, Matilda walks in a perfect circle. Just in case Node 8 ever wakes up,